Somnath is one of the most hardworking student I have met in my entire career. So much so that I used to go to Hebbal, and Hebbal is about 2 hour journey from my place. So when the classes were off, it used to be around 8:39, right, Somnath?
Yes, sir.
And we used to, after 8:39, till the time the guard used to chuck us out by switching off the light, I still remember. Go, go. Till that time, we used to be there after class discussing problems with him. So I myself, to be very honest, being beneficiary of his knowledge, many a time it has happened. This many a time it has happened that I am myself beneficiary of knowledge that he possesses, and he is going to do wonders in life. That is for sure. As of now, he's pursuing from IIT-BHU electrical engineering. I don't know what is his plan, so he will be divulging his plan today. Maybe he'll spill the bean if you push him. Let's see if the parents are able to get the best out of him. Yes, please do ask your questions. Please do ask your questions. Shaaktam, you take the lead, please.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kumar, what role do you think does, my first question being, what role do you think the modern system of online education has in existing students and assisting them achieve their goal, achieve the IIT dream they have?
Right. So in today's online session, it's very easy for teachers to interact with students. So as you saw, Ritul sir said that he had to take out time from his personal life and to had to travel so much. So those things are very much eased out for now. But again, there is one lack. If you are not well connected with the teacher, it may be a problem in the online setup. So what I face even in my college studies is the same, that if my professors are not connected to me, I feel the lack of connection, and that may not happen at a future time as well. But in a offline setup, that was good. But if you need help, you have enough amount of resources online as well as your professors and lot of things that will help you. Materials, let it be lectures, everything is available, and it is very beneficial for someone like us. If he has to cover a lot of syllabus, it becomes easier for us to do that rather than in an offline setup. So it is more of a role of resources rather than actually mentorship. Mentorship is mostly done on, you can rely on a professor if he's pretty comfortable talking to you. So that would be the role.
Hmm. So it has got its own pros and cons.
Mhm.
But I presume that the pros do weigh out the cons, right, dear?
Sure, sure, surely it does.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yes, please. Yes, Shaktam.
My second question is, how should we use the medium? My second question is, how should we use the medium of the internet in a matter that is judicious so as to extract maximum benefit while studying, keeping in mind concomitantly the vices the internet has to its needs? How should we extract the maximum benefit?
Okay. Uh, so I guess having a rigid timetable is like one thing that you have to look out for. Is even when I was studying, so I had to study a lot of content from the internet. So it was not a thing that I was not distracted by it. So it is very necessary. You keep a set goal, keep a set timeline for everything that you do. Time you want to spend in normal things, distractions, it should be there. So you have to keep a timeline. That's a very fixed thing. And if you have a timeline, or if you have a timetable, the consistency comes within you. So you start to work hard daily, even if you don't like, there's no feeling of distraction if you study every day 6 hours, and
True.
one day you won't be that I'm not feeling like studying. That only happens when you're just starting to study. So have a fixed timeline, it will help you a lot. And then you have to put in such a way that you should have a certain amount of interaction with the teacher in a day, and then you have to have assignments or goals that you want to achieve. Let's say you want to solve this many questions, or you want to cover these many topics in a day. So you have to keep timeline for each week or each month, and move forward in that sense. So that will maximize everything. If you have certain kind of distractions, let's say initially you don't feel motivated, and you have internet, so you have access to a lot of YouTube channels, you can just waste your time very easily. You can kill your time. What you should do is kill it, but have a sense of guilt to it. So
Yeah,
you just quantify how much amount of time you wasted on it. You should feel the
very
guilt
well
for it,
said.
and then you just keep on decreasing it overall. So that helps me a lot when I have to.
Very, very well said. Very well said. I presume Om is making a note out of what he is stating. Right, Om?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just think about it. It's not only about distraction. Of course, there is to be. It's a far cry. If you say that there is no distraction, nobody is to believe. There is ought to be distraction, particularly the age that you all are in. But what we need to do, we need to channelize it. How can we channelize it? By adhering to a fixed schedule. And there should be some sense of guilt. If you are violative of what you have decided, then there should be a sense of guilt that I was not able to meet cut this day. So there should be buffer time as well set along. You are to somehow get to whatever you have decided on. You cannot be violative of. Why? This is an area wherein we need to improve a lot. Very easy distraction in the form of internet. We are getting many a complaint about how can we keep a check. What is There are a few doting parents, they do come up with, okay, there should be less screen time, or we should not pester. If we pester, then it can go awry, it can go some other way. So it's not about anything going awry or south. It's about how well defined we are on the line that we are not to transcend. Isn't it, Somnath?
Yes, sir.
There is a line which we have drawn, and we ought to keep to that line. We ought to keep to that dimension. Saying that no, I am very resolute will not work with us. Nobody can be resolute, particularly the age that you are on. You cannot be resolute, but there should be, as he said, and I will take a good note of it. There should be something in you to reflect, and that reflect should be there with you as a fact which you have quantized. This is the number of hours, this is the number of minutes which I didn't make good of. And that will, if you are able to read, you will be able to make good changes on it. As says management, there's something which can be measured. In the words of management, something which can be measured can be improved upon. So if you quantify, you'll be able to improve upon it. There should be a sense of guilt, and that sense of guilt will certainly make you achieve the cut that you have made for yourself. Yes, please. I would wish parents to ask their questions on how to get through, how to prepare, and what problems they are embroiled with. If they wish, they may ask.
Hello, Somnath.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm really proud to hear from sir about your hard work, and it's really honor. And even I think my son will do the same, but I know it will not cross your limit. And I just want to ask you, like, as a parent, like on for IIT, for anything, for any career point, he has to decide on basic line. Now he has to decide for that. So,
Hmm.
what subject they have to choose, and what the decision you have thought at that below age, ki you have to go for this subject and you will go for this career. What you think
Hmm.
at that moment? Maybe at 14 or 15, you have think I have to do this or that. So, how these children come to know ki they have to choose, they are good in this subject and they have to go for this. How to choose their career point?
Right. So one thing that helped me choose or decide was the amount of choices we are given after, like when we come into our 12th or after 12th is very limited. Like in the number of roles you can see in jobs around the world is drastically different from what are the amount of courses you're offered. You may have something like, let's say you're not going to go into arts, or you have arts, you have commerce or business, and then you have MBBS and engineering. These are like the five most stream lines that you get into, and it becomes easier if you understand what kind of aptitude your child has. Like I was a very technical geek, so it was no doubt I would not choose engineering. So if you're a person, and it depends. Like they're not that. I'm not saying people who have not gone into MBA from IIT. I've seen many of my seniors who get into IIT, get the technical knowledge, and then get into business, so that they are able to make good tech startups. So it's just that if you feel one of the domain is sort of related to you, it's better to you do your bachelor's in it, and then you have the rest of your life to actually decide or iterate on it. You want to do marketing, if you want to do a business after that, or something like that. But obviously, it can't be something like you want to do medical and also engineering. That may be two opposites. So it depends. Just see the aptitude. He should be a little knowledgeable in what he's selecting, but the choices are not very difficult at this point of time. He can work on what he wants to do later on in his life. Like I personally am doing electrical engineering, but I'm more inclined on computer science and research on it. So IIT or something like that is a platform for me for in the future to
Exactly.
do a master's or something like that. I get a good amount of recognition. Like I am doing an intern in IAC, so it is very easy for me to get that internship rather than if I didn't get into a good college and then try to do it. It would be very difficult. So more higher in the level you are, so if you're in an IIT or a good college, NIT or anything like that, it gives opens up a lot of opportunities to you. So it is not that you
Correct.
have to be very clear or what you want to do. I believe if you think one particular goal right now, it probably won't work out. There is a lot of things that it doesn't happen, and your interest change over time. So it's always better to see the domain which you want to go, like a short of domain, technical. So it's mostly engineering. If it's in medical, then medical. If he's good with numbers and calculation statistics, then I guess commerce or business or something like that. That would be better. So that is very easy to choose right now. So it's upon the aptitude.
Basically, at this age, they are really
Hmm.
confused. He always been malab talk with Ritul sir also, ki sir, I have to do this. He's like, ki sometimes he's saying, I'll do IIM. Sometimes he say, I know, I'll do IIT.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I am saying that you just choose a subject or board, whatever there is. Later on, you just think you can move, you can flexible. There must be flexibility so that you can move here, and that's the thing. And what problem do you face after choosing subjects? matlab you have chosen that IIT electrical engineering. So what
Right, right.
problems do you face at that time, and how you overcome that?
Right. So let us say, like for me, like after when I was in my JEE times, so technical thing is the major thing that I see. Like anything in physics was what I loved. So it was very easy to choose electrical in that sense. But when I actually started doing electrical engineering, I saw there are more branches in electrical engineering, and I used to like a few of those and hate the others. It's something that will happen to you as well, and that's why you have specialization later on. So what I used to do is you have to take it as like you're studying social science, you're studying some subject that you don't want in school. There is always going to be some subjects in the other courses or future courses what you're going to do. There are going to be some of your favorites, some of your not favorites, but you just have to get a good grade in it. But you have to go down in the specialization, the region that you want to specialize. It's like a tree, you just go down deeper into the specialization you want.
Yeah,
So
the
it
core competency.
yeah. So it's very simple that you have to explore. And the three exists because you have to explore other domains. That's the main purpose of that. You have choices, you just explore, you don't like it, you just leave it, but you then go on specializing on one thing. So that will help you. I don't think it's a problem ever. It's always good to have a lot of, versatility if you know a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's never a problem. It's better to take decisions in life. In that sense.
What I feel, what I, in a nutshell, what I am to add to it is, it basically broad bases your choice.
Hmm. Right.
You are at liberty now to make choices. If you are able to crack IIT, then you are broad basing your choice and you are at liberty to make choice on your career later. So it's not about IIM. IIM will happen only after of graduation. So graduation he need to, and he need to from a very good place. And in India, the best place out is of course IIT if you are having a leaning towards science.
Yes,
So this choice we are to make, and this choice is made based on core competency. It cannot be thrusted on an individual. Thrusting won't work. Never thrusting will lead you to an IIT, right, dear? Right, Somnath?
Yes, sir.
So it should be from within that you are having interest, and that interest is to nurture. You need to cater that interest. Yes, please. Om, Om, your question, please. You are very disturbed at this point in time, particularly ma'am is disturbed at this point in time because I've been pushing a lot, and I've been presenting his performance. And performance as of now, of course, is a tad bit less than what is expected of him, but we are trying to scale it up. This is the best from the horse's mouth that you can get, ma'am. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Somnath.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Actually, Om is in 10th class now.
Hmm.
Just same question that you anyway, when everyone will be asking you how he has to he has started his preparation. Wanted to check with you how he can choose his books because we are seeing so many books, so many sites are there, data is there in net. If he searches for one question, he'll be getting so many answers for it. So
Hmm.
just want how he has to choose the books for each subject like physics, maths, chemistry. How he
Right.
has to.
Firstly, Somnath, I would like to add to it that shall we go willy nilly searching for question answer on internet? What is your take on it?
I normally don't find good answers. Okay, if you are having a prescribed book, you may get your answers from the internet. But I believe getting it clarified from a teacher is like 10 times better because he will
Yeah.
have a backstory to the question. He will have a lot of things, and let's say same question comes in exam or any of the
Mm.
competitive exams. It's just like I just remember that day. I just write that answer down directly. I don't even solve it because
Correct.
it's that easier for me. So I believe I don't. I when I used to do it, I used to never have questions which I could find answers on the internet. Normally, I
Very
normally used to get it.
exactly. This is
So
very
I had
important point.
Yeah.
uh,
This is very important point. Nowadays, you just go for hunting of answer. That is not to work.
Yeah.
What will work is your perseverance, your hard work. Nothing else. There is no substitute to it. So if you give in that easy, if you throw in your towel that okay, I'll find on internet will buttress your argument. Whichever argument you are into towing, they will just buttress it. So you will be eventually landing in soup. Which one to pick, when which one to dismiss.
Yes,
So
yes.
it should never be that you are calling for internet answers. That is from my side as well. Many a time I have repeated it, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Please keep the internet off when they are writing test or when assignment is being solved. Internet access is not allowed. Only after of churning, they need to come to me, and when they are with us, we'll be able to find some as we used to do. It's the same with Somnath. We used to find mutually, right, Somnath?
yes, sir.
We have to find mutually.
Yeah. And how much, just as Om is also here, I just wanted to, he also should know how many times you would
Home,
have
show
practiced.
yourself, dear. Show yourself on camera, Home. Hmm. It appears that we are talking to wall if you're not showing, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted how many times you would have practiced each topic or anything like that. Because one question he will leave that question afterwards. He will go for a next question. We don't know whether he would have exactly understood that question or not.
So, uh,
You take
pro-
any book or maths or physics or anything, you would have practiced many times, right?
He's the
right,
best person to answer this question.
Yes.
right.
Somnath is the
So
best person to answer this question. Yes, Somnath, please go ahead.
right. So I don't think problems are the actual problems we face. It's the theory that you want to learn. So if you see, like the number of types of problems you can scale up in JEE is like barrage of questions can be solved on just one topic. So it's never about that one question, how many times you practice. You are never going to get that question again in the examination. Even in mathematics, you are never ever going to see the question. If we fall for that trap, then it will be very difficult. What I will say is you have concepts. Concepts are not already made by learning it one time. That is for sure. So you every time I solve a new question, a challenging question, I actually reiterate on the concepts. I actually doubt on it. I actually learn more on it. So that is the way I go forward. So if you know the concepts,
Exactly.
it doesn't even
Exactly.
matter of what the question is. Formula, learning formulas. I remember that coaching centers give you sheets of formulas. Totally,
Yeah.
that
Correct.
doesn't. I never even opened them even once before examination. It was only those concepts that key concepts that I used to apply. It may take a little more longer rather than just remembering the formulas. But the number of questions I can solve with that concept is like innumerable, and that is what we actually need in JEE mains or advanced. So I'll say it's not about how many times you do it. I have solved the same problem couple of times maybe, but not more than that because I always remember. I can literally remember how sir taught it out, how sir said that this is the concept that you would use when I see that those questions. So I don't actually go about solving them again and again. I just solve more number of questions so that I can learn that one concept better. And it's not that if you're getting one question wrong, it's better not to just solve it, see your answer, just go through it and write it down and learn it. That's the wrong way of doing it. It's better to question it, argue on it. Why wouldn't this be right? Why wouldn't this formula be used? So you are just canceling these formulas out, canceling these concepts out and learning the right concept.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that should be the approach, I guess.
That is just trying to steer it, Somnath, in the direction. I think the perspective that was put forward by ma'am being tenacity is a miss.
Hmm.
Right.
Go for it, easy go. I'm able to, okay, good. If I'm not able to, okay, good. No
Yeah.
problem. Life easy. I'll go easy way out. This
Right.
tenacity is a miss. And it's the same. It's the same what ma'am is trying to reflect on, I presume, if I'm not wrong, right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So you need to tell them about how to on tenacity front, how to keep it to the level which IIT is in us for. You are there, you know what it takes to be there. So, how tenacious a person should be? Is the person so pushover that the moment it came to you, I'll not take it on my chin, I'll give in.
Right.
I'll
So
give in, I'll give in, I'll throw in my towel and then I'm done. Why? Because life is easy. I have not decided anything on life. Yet they have not decided. I have not decided anything on life. Let me tell you. But I don't know which world they are living in, La La Land, Cuckoo Land, where they do come from, where they don't have any on the future. They have not thought anything about. They don't have any plan. They have not over here trying to carve their own niche. So something that you are to instill in them so that they are following it with fervor. I want to see them follow it with fervor, the way that you used to. Simple.
right. So for tenacity, see, yeah, obviously you will have many of questions which you will know you won't understand, and you will like be okay. Let me just leave it off, or let me just not like let me just remember the formula or something like that. But the zeal of actually learning the concept, the amount of happiness you get when you actually understand the concept. Like I remember
Exactly.
when I used to solve erodive questions or very complex questions with sir, the main happiness that I used to have was I learned something so great that I would want to learn more on it. So it was a rewarding feeling for me to actually learn
Correct.
more and more. It was never on.
Accomplishment.
It was
Accomplishment.
right, right. So it was
Yeah,
never
they call
on.
joy of exuberance.
Right, right,
This is
right,
called joy of exuberance in a way.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Please, carry on.
Yeah, so it was never for me about the marks. So I remember the coaching I was in. I got 30th rank in the center itself, which is pretty bad, right? Though for anyone who studies so much and then feels that you're not getting good outcomes, it didn't stop me because I liked the subject so much. I was like, I like physics. I want to study more on it. I used to get very bad marks on chemistry, but I didn't care for it. I liked physics so much. So I went on studying on physics so much more that I started getting good marks and I used to start covering up. Then I started coming on the top 4 or 5 ranks later on. It was very easy for me to go there because I didn't care about the marks that I was getting now, but the concepts I was learning and the happiness I was getting. Same went for maths and then went for chemistry. So it's only about the liking towards the subject which will push you forward. It won't never be the marks or the results or the outcome that you're getting right now. So don't
True.
quantify with those things. Try to quantify on the amount of happiness you're getting. Quantification or qualifying how much you can do should be with the metrics that someone else can actually say. Like let's say a professor or a teacher is a very good person to say if you're doing good or bad, rather than actually a grade sheet. Because your grade sheet is just what work you have put in for those questions only. But your teacher can actually quantify in which areas you're good in, which areas you're not, and how you can improve on it. That is the main thing I'll see, and that actually helps me to learn more and be happier while learning because he's saying me I'm doing good, even though my grades may be bad. So I can say it's not only about grades or anything; it's also about how happy you are studying the subject. So that pushed me forward always. So yeah,
When did you?
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Nothing. So just when did you start preparing for this one IIT, or what has inspired you to study for this actually? Because it has to be started, right?
right. So my answer would surprise a lot of you. I started in 12th. So I
Okay.
had 1 year of time to study all the concepts for 11th and 12th and crack J. So I'll say it was very difficult. Obviously, it was not easy because all of my batchmates were, having advantage of like 1 year extra and were able to easily score more. That was the reason why I was in the like last 30s of the branch. But the thing was, I liked physics a lot, like from my childhood. My father had his, physics books. He had his applied mathematics books. I used to just go through them. I used to feel it was fun. I used to have the childish dream of I being a scientist. That thing just keep pushing me forward. So it is always that happiness or that kind of zeal you have in you to learn more. It's never about marks for me. So when I was in 12th, I was like, okay, we have to get serious in life. IIT looks the way forward for me because I'm a very technical guy. I like physics. I don't think BSc would do cut it. So I was like, okay, let's do IIT. So I just started preparing. I did as good as I could for that 1 year of time. I got a decent college and I was pretty happy. And still I am because I'm still on the journey of finding what I like more. So
Yes.
it is always important to have like not very big goals or very realistic goals that I want to do this after 10 years, but it is very nice to have you have some of your childish dreams, some dream in forward in life that will push you or motivate you to go forward. Else it will be very difficult for you. Like yeah, I'll say that.
Mm. Where all coachings you went?
uh, I would say the coaching was like the last thing that helped me. It always gave me a regime to follow. That's for sure. So I went in Akash for my 12th. I didn't go to any other coaching before that. So it gave a very good regime because I had that one time slot from 5 to 8. So I had a very good regime, and based on it, I used to have other time slots for me. Like I'll go back home, I'll drink a cup of tea, I'll talk to my mom. It's a very important thing. I like you. This may sound crazy, but that's a very good thing to have. When you have a regime, you are going to do these particular things. Then the next morning you wake up, you don't have to think that you have to do. You're just actually doing it. So that regime helped me a lot. So other than that, I guess other books, other materials, uh, coaching materials also, and the questions sir used to give, and a lot more things actually helped me forward. So yeah, it's very little effort from the coaching, or even a mentor can only help as much as you expose yourself to.
Yes.
It won't be that you can trust on them. It's like for me, it was I had the zeal to do it. Sir wanted to help me, so it actually worked out. So that's what the thing
Yeah, okay. How many hours you would have studied in a
is.
day?
Initially, it was very low. I'll say when I started my 12th, it was 4 hours, 3 hours including in the tuition, and 1 hour back at home doing assignments.
That school also would have been there. College also would have been there.
Right, right.
Mm.
So, but I guess college was like a fun time. I used to not study in college. That's a myth that you go and study in college. Even in online classes, I guess last thing you do is study there. For me, I didn't study a lot in this initial part, but later on,
Yeah.
because I like studying, I used to study late in night. Like I used to wake up till 4 in night just because I'm solving this problem and I want to get the answer. So I'm sitting for 2 hours solving the problem in night. So it drastically increased to 13 to 14 hours in a day by the end of the year. So that was not because anyone said me to do it. No one told me to do it, you do this or do that. They didn't even say you have to solve this many problems. It was just on me. I felt happy if I solved this many problems and I saw the growth in me. That just pushed me forward.
Correct.
Very
So
nice to
true.
hear from you.
So true. Mr. Rohit, Mr. Bejo, if you do have questions, please do ask. I think both of you are mute. Yes, Mr. Bejo. Yes, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So based on your experience, do you have any specific suggestion for someone who's going to 11th? Should he go with the PU board or continue with the CBSE or ICSE? Or you think, I mean, that does not matter?
ICSE is pretty different from CBSE and state. PUC and CBSE is same by now. The syllabus is same. The way the labs are taken out, carried out, may be a bit different, but pretty much else it's the same. ICSE a bit different, but there is no advantage you're getting. Like if I would say you can actually do PUC, study well in your coaching, and you can do better rather than actually taking the amount of efforts to study ICSE syllabus because those are obviously tougher. So I can say you can actually opt out to CBSE or PUC based on your liking any of the schools that is offering the courses. But that's secondary. It's only going to be a board marks. It's not going to mean anything for the JEE. So yeah.
Okay. So the reason I was telling you was because a lot of these institutes, right, they tell that probably if you go with the PU board, you get a lot of time to basically solve more complex problems for the JEE Advanced
Right.
than someone who's studying in CBSE, where you have to basically have to follow a specific pattern of tests, assignments, projects like that. So do you think
Right. So PUC is like okay. It depends on the college. The college I went was Sheshadapuram. It was a PUC board. But the point was it was as strict as a CBSE board. Later on, I actually talked to the principal that I wanted extra time and stuff like that. But it's pretty much similar. I won't say you are getting an advantage over a CBSE person. And the test or the exams patterns is pretty similar. I don't think there is much difference. Okay, there may be a few less tests. There may be no class tests and things like that. Let's say if you are in Kendriya Vidyalaya, I do remember my friends having unit tests a couple of time in a month, which was a little hard. But if you know the concept, it won't be very difficult to actually write it. And it's upon the parent who is not screwing this child. The child may not worry about the grades he is getting, because he knows that you have to get a good grade in JEE Advanced. That is main motive. The parents may put external pressure, but if the parent is fine with it, I guess it's completely fine. I got 88% in my PUC board. Even people in CBSE who got 77% or so are still in IIT. I believe I remember one person who got IIT Bombay CSE, but his board's marks is just 78, which is like laughable according to others. But that doesn't matter. If the parent is fine, the child is fine, no certificate, no resume, no one in the future is going to ask you this marks if they see you have got into IIT. So
True this.
it's up to you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Rohit, if you would ask.
Yeah, nice conversations. Thanks to having me, and thanks everyone to join this. Yeah, Somnath, there is some of the questions that you have already touched upon, like how the student is going to focus on their study while they are into the online. Because I'm asking my daughter actually to prepare the list of distraction actually when you are reading or you are consuming some informations either from the books or from yeah. So you have touched upon like how you can cut down your internet time and going into that, trying to grab the information or the concept whatever you are learning it at that moment. In your way actually, before examinations also you have gone through a lot of stress, like everyone is in this pandemic, they are gone through a pandemic stress or something. So how you focus yourself during this pandemic time as well and achieve your goal, what actually you do during, like when you are very stressful as a student, what kind of a things stress and make you start focus on your goal?
So I guess my best friends, like you should talk to your best friends, and my best friends was my mom and my dad. Main reasons being, in the journey I got down in 12th, having friends, like having friends were actually the main distractions for me. They were like always going out, they want to do this. They were from PUC board, and one more reason why I wouldn't say actually go down for PUC board is people there don't at all focus on J. They have this mindset of they'll be fine doing a private engineering college and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
In Kendra Vidyalaya, I've seen everyone is so competitive. They want to do at least JEE mains and get into a good institute. So that actually environment is everything. So for me, I saw this star kids in my what is a branch, institute branch. So I was like, I want to be one of them. So I worked towards harder to be towards them. So it's always also about the environment. So for me, I cut down all of my friends totally. So no talking to them, no going out. If I go out just once in a month or once in 2 or 3 months, and sometimes not at all, not even keeping up phones, not at all messaging them. Initially, I did a bit, but then I totally cut down. My parents were a very good friends for me. Like literally, I used to go down, I used to just talk to them. It's not actually about telling your problems. Normally, when kids are, they get very irritated when a elderly gives you a taunt or a review to you, saying ki you do this, you do that, it'll be better. I used to feel irritated. Okay, this is not that easy to do. I don't like it. So what I used to do, not actually tell the problem to them, so that they give me a solution. It's more like I just go drink a cup of tea with them, talk on normal things. I used to feel relaxed. I used to feel my tension used to go away, and I used to start focusing on this again. So anytime I used to feel stressed, I used to do small things to make me feel happier. Maybe play video games for 10 minutes. So I used to quantify, okay, 10 minutes of video games, done, go back to study. So those kind of things or rewards is very necessary for focusing again. We are very much kids at those point of time. We don't really understand that this is going to make so much difference in my career in future. Like now as adults we see that, so we don't actually we are able to say okay, we are going to focus on this, but as kids we don't. But as kids we at least can do something, that I have a very small goal of achieving this much hours of time and so on. So I just try to keep me motivated by whatever time I do. So if I have to do 10 or 20 questions in a day, it is not I always keep on consistently solve it. It may be I just take a 10 minutes break, 15 minutes break in between, solve it. Even in exam times, when you feel stressed that you have a lot of syllabus, didn't study it, I just go about talk to my mom. I have not prepared for it. And is it fine? I just ask it. They obviously say that it is fine. It's fine. You get bad marks. I don't care, right? You go and study for JEE again. They say that one simple thing, and my stress, half of the stress is gone. Parental stress is the most important stress that a child faces at this point of time. So
Okay.
if that thing goes away, then I don't think it will be a problem.
So have you defined your screen time as well, like the during the daytime, like when you have continuous running through this study material and books for 4 or 5 hours, and again you are taking any break for 10-15 minutes, go into the screen, watch some videos, listen some songs, something like uh, you are doing it on a regular basis?
The like screen on time varies because I used to have a lot of books print out, so I used to not have that high screen of time. But what I can say is, yeah, I used to waste a lot of time on, let's say, YouTube. I still remember when I was back in 12. So what I used to do is I had this website blocker. There's a simple extension in Chrome that you can download. I used to just block it off, and I used to not see it. But I'll say, as a parent, don't try to implement on the child. It should be an initiative from the child. Then they will be actually doing it. If you do it, it's in their mind that the reward is to do something against it. They're going to remove it first and try to
They
search
will
other
rebel.
websites.
They will rebel at this age in particular.
Huh. So just
Yes.
Should be
it
very.
should be that you say the child, do a time
Yeah.
management, try to manage your time. Let's see how good you do it, and I'll reward you whenever you manage your time well. So whatever methodology they find out suits them will be the best, and just reward them. It should always be on the
Yeah.
rewarding side and not on the punishing side. Punishing should be
Yeah.
the last resort.
There should not be any reprimand. Rather, it should be positive reinforcement, and it should be more soul search.
Yeah, one last question. For any particular topic, and now like we can get this information from various books or various reference website and all. How you and getting all those information and then sitting on that, what is the right answer? What is I have to write it? How you uh, actually manage this abundance of informations and sitting on that and try to find out the solutions? How you what is your approach actually to find the answer?
Right. So internet or other books, all of them are not abundant of information. I guess one book has the same information of the other. It's just marketing that they are doing on the other book. It's just key
So
you
very true.
put on just one book. I'm literally saying I just studied H.C. Verma for both
Very good.
JEE Advanced and JEE Mains. This is the most simplistic books. Doesn't have any competitive questions. Doesn't have anything that aids JEE Advanced or anything. It is for a BSc physics person to study, but those concepts, those key concepts helps us so much that I could solve even competitive questions, right? And then what happened is I have knowledge. I got a knowledge from a book. I just needed questions which sir used to provide. I used to solve it. I used to get sharper. I used to go forward. It's not always about you have this much resource and you actually try to manage them or actually tidy them up and try to study. It's not that. It's about choose one part of it, choose the important part of it. I guess
Yeah, correct.
professors are going to be, sir is going to be able to recommend you a book. Go through that. It's more than enough of knowledge. If you have doubts, you conceptually iterate on it. It's much less expensive than actually going, much less expensive in time than actually studying another book for it or trying to search the same thing. So I guess just study one book. Problems are
Yeah.
going to diversify what you want to study. So yeah, sticking to one book is
Concept
more than enough.
concept is the key actually to solve any problem, right? That's all.
Exactly. Net is more to confound you. You will not be crystal clear, right? Crystal gauging after the net which way to approach, which approach is better. So it's for you to resolute on concept than to go for searching answers on internet. They are
Okay.
never a help.
Okay, thanks Somnath, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Raman, if you have any question to ask.
Raman is my nephew actually, so I asked
Okay,
him.
okay, okay.
He's also preparing
Okay.
for IIT, so I asked
Okay.
him to join, and if he has some questions, so he will
Okay,
ask.
Raman, you may ask.
Yeah.
Raman, do you have any question to ask? No
No,
questions. Yeah.
currently don't have any questions.
Okay, fine. Okay, Shaaktam, please go ahead.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, I think Shreeansh has raised his hands, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, Shreeansh, you have raised your hand.
Yes.
Shreeansh has raised and also Om has raised hand. So Shreeansh goes first.
Yes. So, so like you said that you had happiness in what you solved, and like you didn't matter like what percentage you get. Okay, you get the happiness, and same goes with any person. Like he has achieved the happiness, like what he gets, rather than the percentage. But how to explain these to teachers and parents? They just matter the percentage at most.
Right. So again, I mean, it is not like okay. Teachers don't matter. Teachers are supportive of you. If the teacher is saying that you're getting bad marks, then the teacher is actually not very supportive of you, because he doesn't know that your goals are different. You don't adhere to the normal syllabus or the curriculum. So he just is actually doing his part of his job. That he's saying do better here, but it's upon you and the parent who has to understand that is not the main objective of my son or daughter at this age. It is more on the career he wants to build forward. So how do you go about talking to your parents is, I guess, very simple. You just go about telling them ki, see, I can get good marks here. I have done it consistently for the past 10 years. That is the normal curriculum. But I'm not sitting for that now. I'm trying to do something which is called JEE, which is one of the toughest exams in the world, I would say. I would want to pursue it. I would want to give my 100% to it, even though I may fail miserably, even though I may not get. Because when I was sitting in 12th, it was like very little of chance that I actually crack JEE. It's not only about getting a good rank. It was cracking JEE was very impossible for me. Very being very true to you. 11th and 12th syllabus have to complete. Not just that, I know there are Olympiad students. There are so many smarter students than me sitting for it. Obviously, cracking it is not easy. But I said my mom, see, it is impossible for me mostly to crack it. But if I don't give my 100% today, I probably will regret it for the rest of the life, even though I may have a
Exactly.
99
Exactly.
marks in my resume, but a
That is
job company won't take me in because I'm not from an IIT or something like that.
correct.
So I
Correct.
just
That
said,
is what matters. Your efforts, right there.
right, right.
You are at the end of the day having a sound sleep or not.
Mhm.
You can say to yourself that yes, I have given 100%, which is what is required, which is what teachers do pester, right?
Yes.
At least Somnath can vouch which way he was pestered and what is the reading of a teacher vis-a-vis a student and how much faith we can repose on statements of teacher. Yes, Somnath.
Right.
It's very subjective. It's very
Yeah.
subjective, right? So you need to tell them about how to judge on a teacher's assessment. Is it correct to judge on the teacher assessment? If the teacher is saying that you're not pulling efforts, then can we lay credence on statement of teacher? Is it that there is something which is more than what meets the eye, or the teacher is into correct assessment, and what he is or she is into, what they are into saying is what we have to take as writing in stone or gospel truth.
Right. So have a mentor also. He it could be just one teacher who knows what you're doing. Like he may be guiding you for a lot of things. I had a few of them. Ritul sir being one of them. They knew what I was doing. They knew that I wanted to JEE, but my main goal was actually doing physics and liking of these subjects. So they knew what I was doing. They could see and they could actually quantify and tell it to my parents. So my parents were not there. That's sad. But normal teachers, not the few school college that I went into, they were very angry. I was not getting good marks. Initially, when the first test came, I got very good marks. Then I started dropping marks because obviously I'm not studying for the subjective exam. They started complaining. I told them that my main motive is JEE. They didn't try to understand because that's not their job. Their job is that, and they are right in their zone. But they were also happy for me when I got into JEE, got a good rank in CET. They were very happy for me. They are also humans; they understand that. But it's just that their job; they have to say it to you. So it's upon the parent and the child that understands what we are trying to, assess or tell you.
Okay, Om has raised hand, I presume. Om goes next.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how are you able to manage time, like from morning, the college time, and the studies? And you said you were late, awake late night.
Right.
Wouldn't you be
So
tired?
yeah. So being tired is one thing. I'll say time schedule is something you have to work on yourself. But I used to like sleep for 5 hours, 4 hours in the night, sleep 2 hours in the evening, afternoon. My college used to end up. It used to start in morning 7, and it used to end up by 3 or 2. depends on the day. And I used to come back home, sleep for 2 hours, go back to tuition. But this cycle will be different for you, different for everyone. It is upon your comfort. You have 1 year or 2 years or 3 years maybe for getting used to what you're going to do. So I don't think that's a very big problem. Management of time is like the last thing you should worry about. You should have goals for a day, goals for a week, and try to accomplish it to see what kind of strategy works for you. Just make it as your timetable every day and just follow it. I guess that is how I found it out. Being tired is exhaustion is something mental rather than physical.
Very good. Right.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
right. So I used to have these small breaks to mentally make myself happy. Mentally say I will only play that video game when I solve these many questions. If that is the craze, initially when you have, do that. It's nothing wrong. You have that. It's like you're a donkey, but you can keep the carrot in front of you to pull you forward. It's only up to you yourself that you have to do
Stick
that.
carrot approach.
Huh. So just do that. Just reward yourself. Be
Yeah.
happier. Nothing more
And
matters.
important to note that it is about taking churning, and churning. As he said, 4 hours plus two, it makes 6 hours. That's it. And that too towards the fag end, he appreciated a number of hours of study to 13, 14. Got it home? So you should have the goals to take that churning. It is very important for us. And this churning will be for 1.5 year. That's it. After of that, you bang your head against wall. Nobody is to stop you. Isn't it, Somnath?
Right. Like it feels satisfactory also seeing that you put in
Yeah.
so much of hours and you actually got it. It's
Correct.
the most happiness you can get.
Yeah.
And
The
and how
accomplishment.
did you and how were you able to speed up your calculations? Like we have a lot of calculations in chemistry, physics, and
Right.
we even cannot use a calculator in the exam.
Right. So our human brain is very good at numbers. It learns numbers. You don't actually divide two numbers. When I was in J, you don't divide what is 0.53 divided by 0.47. You just try to start approximating it. It's obviously something 1 point something, and you just see the options. You just stick it. So you don't actually sit and calculate everything. That's the last thing you do. Just try to keep, if it's physics, you can try to keep everything in symbols and just input the value in the last and actually get the values. In chemistry, I'll say, if you're saying about physical chemistry, there are just one or two questions, but the answers are drastically different from each other, so you just have to know the order the answers are in mathematics. You don't actually solve anything. You just actually do symbolic solving, like integration or something like that. Calculation is the last thing. You have fractions. You don't actually calculate a lot. But one thing you can say is problem solving skills, or the speed how you solve a problem only comes from practice. That can't be substituted with anything else. There is no techniques, Vedic mathematics, nothing that will actually help you. It's only about how well you practice. You start seeing numbers, you start understanding numbers faster. You can actually start guessing the answers faster, and you can actually try to work both sides and actually guess the answers from the answers to the questions. That is one of the approach they do in JEE, and that's the most successful one for solving most of the questions. This is true for JEE mains. For the JEE advanced part, I'll say there are numeric problems, things like that, where you have to have decimal point calculation. You can put in a lot of time in that. There's no problem because nobody is going to get the full marks here. Everyone is going to solve selected questions which they are comfortable in. So you can actually do those questions you're confident in. Take your time. Take 5 or 6 minutes, not a problem. Where the average time to solve is 3 minutes, take 6 minutes, not a problem. You're probably not going to solve two more questions after this. So it's better to solve that one question. So that's the approach you go forward.
Right. So practice is the key word, right, Om? More you practice, appreciation on speed is certainly to follow.
Yes.
Okay, Somnath took time out. Thanks, Somnath. Thanks a lot. Okay. And you will be there always to guide them, I presume. Whenever they do have questions, they can always come back to you, right there.
Yes, sir. Surely.
And we are to see you going places. That is for sure.
I'm truly humbled to have. I'm truly humbled that you had me here. Like it reminds me, and I went through the whole journey of my JE times again. It was a nice thing to remember. I take it for granted how I passed through those 2 years or 1 year of time. It's really nice to again go in that same ride of questions, doubt, and confusion like you people have.
It's pleasure, dear. It's always pleasure, your modesty. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thanks.
all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.